Sees that all five stand Today is October the 4th, 2017. Welcome for tonight meditation in Dharma House. How's everyone doing tonight? Good? Tonight we continue on the Dharma Sutra. Today we start on chapter 15. So in the previous chapter, the Buddha told Buddhi that back in the paramita of the wisdom, forbearance and charities was possible only if a practitioner able to free of self-illusion. So the fourth thing that we need to understand that this the sixth paramita is the thing that a Bodhisattva have to practice, and then they want to be completely to become a Buddha. They have to have no self, egoless, and when you egoless, what else can you achieve? So when you are egoless, well, like when your mind is emptiness, then there's two awakened natures will appear. So like when our thought is normal, so our two body, what we call the Dharmakaya body, will appears. Appears is not, because our true nature is not informed. It's nothing that you can use to see it, but you have to be able to feel it from your awakened nature. So that's why today we look into this chapter 15. He compared the merit and the virtue from giving, generosity, material, to compare of recite, practice, and holding this sutra. So we're on chapter 15. Gary, can you read first? The first paragraph. Okay.
I'm Greg.
Greg, I'm sorry. It's been a long time.
Yes. The merit and virtue of holding the sutra. Subhuti, if on the one hand a daughter or a son of a good family gives up her or his life in the morning as many times as there are grains of sand in the Ganges as an act of generosity, and gives as many again in the afternoon and as many again in the evening, and continues doing so for countless ages. And if, on the other hand, another person listens to the sutra with complete confidence and without contention, that person's happiness will be far greater. But the happiness of the one who writes the sutra down, receives, recites, and explains it to others cannot be compared.
Okay. So this paragraph that the Buddha say, he compared two things. The first is the Subhuti, in one hand, the daughter or the son of a good family, give up everything, mean donation, generosity, not only one life, but many life, such as the grain of sand in the Ganges River. That's a lot, right? That's incountable. So he compared the giving of materials, one hand, and the other hand is he compared a person who only listens to this sutra and completely feel confident without contention. That person's happiness will be far greater. But the happiness of one who writes this sutra down, receive, recite, and explain to others cannot be comparable. So, in general, we believe that whenever we born out in this world, we make a lot of money and then materials, and we give other people. That seems like a lot of merit and virtue, right? But the Buddha said that merit and virtue is only form. It's not truly greater than a person who is able to recite and to practice is greater. How can it be? For example, if you have $1 million, how many can you help people? How many people can you help? Probably 1 million people, right?
1 million people, $1 each.
Yeah, each. Probably 2 million, 50%, 50 cents, right? That's a lot, right? Million or 2 million? Probably 5 million, no? It's getting smaller, right? If 5 million, probably everyone get 25 cents, right? But when you're able to understand the Sutra and practice and get enlightenment, and you help other sentiment is infinity. So what one is marriage stronger? The one who have 1 million and the other one is just recite the Heart Sutra and recite the Dharma Sutra, able to practice and awaken and help all sentient beings. So the person who is able to practice more, right? He or she can able to help limitless sentient beings. But if you have 1 million or 2 million, you have only a limit of people. You see that? So here he compared between only one this life, but not only this life, but many lives like the Ganges river, the sand in the river. That's a lot, right? Compare of this. So when you give in a person materials, or they are no more, or they are always happy? No, right? For example, if a person is about to die, lie in bed, and you give a lot of money, diamond, are they happy yet? No. But if you come there, you understand the teaching, and you preach them, you comfort them. Which one they prefer? A lot of money or comfort them? Tell nice things to them. Yeah, they like to tell nice things, right? So we are the same thing. So here the Buddha said that if a person who awaken able to tell that person how they can able to achieve their awakened mind and let their fear disappear, it's more merit and virtue than you give all this material to them. Because if they are dying, they cannot use anyway, right? What if a person who is suffering, and then a person, what they want, when they are suffering, the depression, the loneliness, even you give a lot of money to them, material to them, are they happy? No. They need somebody to talk, right? Somebody to get help them enlightenment. So here he compared between giving materials and giving the Dharma. So the Dharma is help you to release the suffering. It's help you to accomplish your true awakened nature. But the material is help you to what? Only temporary, right? But sometimes material let us more greed. If they give you more money, you are more greed, right? Your greed will arise. So when you are greedy arise, your suffering is more. So that's what he compared between giving the materials one hand and giving the other hand giving tell them to practice and feel confident for awakening. So that is the way we can look deeply how he compares between this million of life you give in generously, as many as the grain of sand in the Ganges river, but only if you recite and put into practice. And this happiness is infinity, right? For example, if you win a lottery, your happiness is a couple of days, right? Probably a couple of months. But when you truly awaken, your happiness will what? It's infinity. You see that? But sometimes you win a lottery and then that suffering, that happiness becomes suffering too. Too much money, I don't know what to do. I will have stress, right? I have fear, anxiety. I have to buy all the lawyer, pay all the bodyguard and all of this, right? Sometimes you are not free, right? Like millionaire people, they're not free like us, right? We can go anywhere we like, but they go everywhere. They have to what? Have bodyguard. You see that? So sometimes you have a lot of material, you are in a suffering way. So that's why the Buddha said that if a person who are free from suffering is more happiness than a person who have a lot of materials in their hand. So that's why he compared the merit, the virtue from a person who have free of suffering, free of fear, free of anxiety, to a person who have given a lot of material, but they still have fear, they still have depression, they still have anger in them. So that person who leave all their suffering is more happiness than the person still have fear, anxiety, and all this thought. And it doesn't matter how much material they got, they will suffer. So here he talks about how we are able to relieve our fear, our anxiety, and our self, our egoless. And then the next paragraph he talks about. Sylvia, can you read the next one?
In summary, Subhuti, this sutra brings about boundless virtue and happiness that cannot be conceived or measured. If there is someone capable of receiving, practicing, reciting, and sharing this sutra with others, the Tathagata will see and know that person, and he or she will have inconceivable, indescribable, and incomparable virtue. Such a person will be able to shoulder the highest, most fulfilled awakened career of the Tathagata.
Okay, so in summary that Subhuti, this sutra brings us, so he talked about the Dharma Sutra. This Dharma Sutra helps you to achieve the highest awakening, what we call Tathagata. Tathagata is the awakened nature. So this sutra helps you to find your awakened natures for all this life. We're searching for happiness from materials, from love, from compassion, from the people, cause, house, all technology. We're searching for that happiness. But he said that those things will not bring you happiness. Those things will bring you more suffering. Only this sutra, you're able to trust and to believe and put into the practice, and capable of receiving practice and recite and sharing this sutra with other people, your awakened nature will be more stronger, right? So our main thing is that when we awaken our natures, our virtue will be inconceivable, indescribable, and incomparable. So that virtue is infinity, like space, right? Because your awakened nature is like space, and your virtue also like space. But our materials is limited, right? Like people, how rich they are. Anybody know the richest person in the world? Probably some king, right? They can own a country, right? They can own some kind of island or whatever. They're probably a billionaire. Nobody a trillionaire, right? So it doesn't matter how much money they got, but their suffering will be still there, right? But a person who have nothing, but their awakened nature is arise. So you compare to a $1 trillion man to a person who have nothing, emptiness. Which one's better?
One with the awakened nature.
Yeah, the one with awakened nature. Because at that moment he have no more fear of death, he have no more fear of rebirth, he have no more fear of all this stuff. But a billionaire person, he have all this kind of stuff. When he die, he don't know what to do with the money, right? Sometimes he's greed his money, and when he die, he cannot let go, right? He born in a different lower realm sometimes, because our greed arises when we die. If we have a lot of materials, that pull us back to our karma. But a person who have emptiness mind, emptiness material, when they die, they are freely, right? If you have nothing, then nothing to hang on it. If you have a lot of things in this world, that's why you hang on it. That's why, as a Buddhist monk, the Buddha teach us to have 3 ropes: a bow, a crane, a needle to sew a thread. Only 13 things that we are allowed to have, right? Because the lesser you have, the lesser what your attachment, right? The more you have, the more your attachment. So that's why the Buddha wants us to live a normal life. Try to be less material. Because the more material you got, you will be busy, right? If you have 20 cars, you have to what? You have to put a lot of time on your cars, your vehicle, right? You have 1,000 of clothes. Then what? You are busy what to wear tomorrow, right? You go to your closet and open, there's 1,000 of them, what I choose. And maybe you have only 3 or 4 rope. Every day is the same, right? Just put it in and out. You see that? And imagine you have a lot of shoes too, right? You have 1,000 of pair of shoes and then go in your closet and choose. Imagine a month only have 3 slippers, 3 shoes, right? So the more you have materials, the more your monkey mind will be busy. The lesser material you got, the lesser your monkey mind, right? It's like people who stack up a lot of coffee, right? And then they think about, I have all this coffee, every day I drink each of the coffee. But if you have just 1 coffee, you don't have to think about anything, just come and go there and make some coffee, right? But if you have a lot of coffee, then what? You have a lot of thinking, you have a lot of choosing. That's why we have a lot of choice, right? So that's why today's society, we have a lot of choice. That's why we have a lot of what? A lot of shopping, a lot of thinking. There's 1,000 of phone in the market. There's 1,000 of insurance company, 1,000 of insurance credit card, right? So you go choose, and you waste a lot of time. Imagine we have only a couple, then we have less thinking, right? So cost, material, whatever, right? So the main thing is that the more material you got, the more busy you will get. The lesser material you get, the lesser busy our thinking mind. So here he says that a person with awakened mind is happiness is more virtue than a person with many materials, like a person who was a trillionaire or millionaire. So you can observe and to see that a person who has less material, they walk freely. They can go anywhere. They don't have to stay at home all the time, right? But a person who have a lot of material, they go everywhere, every place, they always what? They always have fear. Fear of losing, fear of all the stuff. So like we have just, for example, if you just bought a beautiful, expensive vehicle, when you park in a warm-up place or whatever, parking lot, you always what? You always worry, right? Worry of somebody scratch your car, worry of somebody might steal your car, or something like that. You always have worry. But if you have an old car, probably 10 or 20 years, you just drive it and you park here, you don't care, right? So you see that? How your mind is different from the old material than the brand new one. So that's why our mind is always busy with the new stuff, and our mind is always not busy with the old thing, right? Just like whenever we when we have a birthday, we have a new present, a new blouse, new car, new shoe, we always think about it, right? But a couple months, couple weeks, then what? Become old, and then we don't think about it. You see that? So here, if a person who is able to live with materials, but they are not attached to materials, that is the highest awakening. But if a person have no materials, but they want a material, but they cannot have it, then what? They will be suffering too, right? So it depends on your mind. Even though you have a lot of materials, today in society we have a lot of material, but we don't attach to it, right? You have 10 or 12 pair of shoes, but you don't worry about it, right? So you see how our mind is different. But if you have less, you have nothing, you always what? You always wishing, right? Wanting, because you don't have it, and then you want it. That's also a problem. So more material or less material is depend on your mind, right? The main is depend on your mind. How we use it, how we able to manipulate materials instead of let material manipulate us. So here's he talk about the awakening, the create the two natures by the highest virtue. Okay, the next two paragraphs. Marcus, can you read the next two paragraphs?
Sure. Why? Subhuti. If one is content with small teachings, if he or she is still caught up in the idea of a self, a person, a living being, or a lifespan, he or she will not be able to listen, receive, recite, and explain this sutra to others. Subhuti. Any place this sutra is found is a place where gods, men, and asuras will come to make offerings. Such a place is a shrine and should be venerated with formal ceremonies, circumambulations, and offerings of flowers and incense.
Okay. So the next sentence he said that wise Buddha, if one is content with a small teaching, if he or she will still caught up in ideas of self, person, a living being, or a lifespan, he or she will not able to listen and recite, and explain the sutra to others. So this paragraph we talk about that when we study any kind of sutra, if you have the mind of greed, greed of self, a person, a living being, and a lifespan, then you cannot able to practice the sutra. Because the four thing, what we call the four fallacies, is a self, is when you still attach to your ego. And you still attach to a person next to you. And you also attach to a living being, all living being. And then you attach to a lifespan. That means your life, you want to expand more. If you still attach these four things, then you are not a truly, fully awakened person yet. See that? So he or she will not able to listen and receive this teaching. Right now you recite this teaching because you are what? Because you don't know. Now you have to recite, receive, and then the more you practice, you let go of self, a person, a living being, and lifespan. Then the main thing is to let go of these four fallacies, right? He talked about that if we are still attached to these four things, then our awakened nature will not appear. Our tathakanta not appears, because we still have this thought of this ego, this attachment. When we still have some kind of thought in our mind, then this thought will cover our true nature. So that's why he says that we have to get rid of all these four things, and then we will truly expand this sutra. The sutra here is not talk about the word, the language of this sutra, but the sutra of non-word, non-language. The sutra you use every day, the sutra you use for eating, the sutra you use to cleaning, the sutra you use to reading, walking, standing, reclining. Do you understand that sutra? You use every day? Just like one of the students asked the Zen master, You told us that we use this sutra every day. I don't understand. And the Zen master said that don't understand mind. That is the sutra. Right now you don't understand. Go back to that and don't understand. You see that? So he talked about the living sutra. We talk about the living sutra. That sutra alive in you. Not this death sutra, not this world sutra. If this death sutra is world sutra you offer, you pray, you do all this is blind belief. Right? He talk about the awakening sutra. The sutra know how to eat, know how to walk, know how to walk, know how to blink his eye or her eyes, know how to do all this, know how to drive. That's the living sutra. He talk about the living sutra, not this dead, the dead sutra you're holding. Right? So the don't understand mind. Just like you right now, you don't understand. Let's go back to your don't understand mind. Then who don't understand the mind? You see that? So that's why we have to get rid of. The reason we don't understand because we still have a self, a person, a living being, and a lifespan. These four fallacies cover our understanding. Right? And then the last one, the last paragraph, is says, Buddhi, if any place this sutra is found, is a place where gods mean heaven being, means Asura will come to make offer. Such a place with serene and should be venerated with formal ceremony, circumambulations, and offer of flowers and incense. So whoever use this awakened sutra, then angels, human, asura, demon god will come my offer. So when you practice sutra, almost like 14th chapter, any demon or any god come offer you yet? No? If no, it means you are not highly practiced yet. Right? If you are truly high practitioner, then demon, human, gods come and make you offer. Right? So when we look back deeply to our practice, that means there's nobody offer us. That means we are not good practice yet. We are not truly awakened yet. So that's why these are 10 kind of offerings. The first is incense. It's like you look at our altar, the incense. Why do we offer incense? Because incense is something that smells good, like perfume, right? So if you offer the Buddha incense, the Buddha Sattva incense, then next life, your body will smell good. Not stinky. Right? It's also the incense that our words, our action have to be good. If your word, your action do good, then not only the people in live around you will know it, but people far away, other country will know you. I mean, you do good, even the person live in heaven, they will know your goodness. So your goodness is like your incense, right? Just like people today, just like last Sunday, a lot of heroes, right? They save a lot of people. Otherwise, there's nobody stop that shooter. There's a lot more killer, right? So that hero, even though he don't do anything, but a lot of people know it. That's incense, the smell, right? So he talk about the incense of goodness. If a person do goodness, just one small step, that incense will be flow to the heaven, or flow to the different country, right? Far away. So first we have to use the incense to offer, and the second is flowers. So when you look at our altar, we have flower. Why do we use flower to offer the Buddha? Because flowers is also something that's beautiful, that make us smiling. Just like if you go to the hospital, people are sickness, people are sick, when you give flower to them, what they do? They're smiling, right? So flower is smiling. When you look at flower, they're always smiling. They give us life. Even though how sad, how upset, how angry you are, when you look at flower, your mind will be more peace, more calm, right? So that's why in Buddhism we offer a lot of flower. Because a flower, their whole life is blossom to make it beautiful, and they will die. It will die, right? So it's like that. We have to be smiling like flower. Flower is always smiling, right? But for us, sometimes we're smiling, sometimes what? We are not. 24 hours, how many smiling? How many times you smiling? Right? So be like flower, always smiling, right? If you close to a person who always smiling, or a person who are not smiling, what do you prefer?
The smiling.
The smiling, right? So tell your husband or your wife, honey, you have to smiling for me all the time, like flower. So when you see a person smiling, there's no argument, no fighting, right? When you see your husband or your wife not smiling, that means something wrong, right? So that's why we offer flower, is the smiling. You see the Buddha is always smiling, right? Even if a person try to kill him, he's still smiling, right? If a person do something bad for us, we are not smiling to them. We probably what? Yeah, we probably have cross eye or something, right? We look mean, right? So for the Buddha, for himself, he always see the enemy or a friend, he always smiling, right? That is his compassion heart. The flower is also teach us that something that beautiful, smiling, we give offer. It's also taught us that impermanent. Today is beautiful, flowers today is beautiful, and probably a couple of weeks, a couple of days is what?
Wilted.
Yeah, it will die. So you are the same thing. You in the 20 to 30 or 40, you look young and beautiful, and now you're in 70, 80, 90, what?
Wilted.
Yeah, it's getting old, right? So that's the teaching of impermanent. Everything has to be changed. Nothing stays forever, right? This is the lesson. So one of the monks, he sit in meditation and suddenly he saw a leaf in the fall time, in the autumn season. He saw the leaf fall down, and he suddenly enlightened. When you saw the leaf every day, flower falling, you get enlightenment yet? No, why? Because he able to contemplate the impermanent all things. Just like Newton, everybody know Newton, right? The apple fell in his head, and suddenly he enlightenment. He know the law. You see that? Sometimes we have to have some kind of doubt, and then suddenly something happens, and we get enlightenment. If you have no doubt, then there's no enlightenment. That's why in Zen Buddhism way, small doubt, small enlightenment, big doubt, big enlightenment. So your practice is to have some kind of doubt question, right? Who am I before I come here? What I will go, where I will die? So you put all these questions in your mind. And suddenly a leaf fall down, like a dog barking, you got enlightenment. You see that? So for Zen master, everywhere is enlightenment. Just like one of the Zen master walking in the market, and suddenly the husband and wife argument. They fighting, they argument, and so later the Zen he got enlightenment from their argument. You see that? So all Dharma is, everything is your teaching, right? Everything is Dharma. People fighting, that's the Dharma. People arguing, that's Dharma. Right? So that's the teaching of every way. So the flowers, the second we offer flowers. And the third we offer lamps, or we call light. You see lamp, right? Lamp represents wisdom. Just like we offer the Buddha lamp, our eyes sight will be brighter. This life you have a lot of cannot see. You wear thick glass because in the past life you don't offer light. Right? So light represents that open your eyes. The 5 eyes, remember? Yeah. Human eyes, heaven eyes, wisdom eye, Dharma, and Buddha eye. Right? So lamp represents wisdom. We have to open our wisdom and light offer. If this world have no light, then there's always darkness, right? So we need light to open our wisdom. And number 4, we offer necklace, usually jewelry, right? We offer the Buddha jewels, or sometimes they make Buddha's gold or diamond or quite expensive stone, right? So we can use jewels. Some people they make gold Buddha and they hang on the necklace or diamond Buddha. They put all the stuff. So you can offer jewelry, jewels. And number 5, jewels. Number 6 is banner or canopy. And number 7 is clothes, right? Just like you offer clothes. The Buddha don't wear clothes, right? Clothes here, he talk about that before you wear your clothes, you offer to the Buddha, not your pants, but your blouse, your upper clothes. You offer to the Buddha, and then you wear. I mean, you show respect. Just like when you respect somebody, I mean, you offer them first, and then you wear it. The 7 clothes. Number 8, food and food, right? Food. All the food up here we offer. So the food represents the cause and consequence. You plant the orange, you have orange. You plant the orange tree, you have orange. You plant the apple, you have apple tree, you have apple. So everything has a cause and effect. And we offer food. Sometimes we offer. This month we have the moon cake, right? Anybody know moon cake? Small moon cake. So we don't know, you can come here and eat. I think probably we have some down there. Usually we call festival moon cake. Depends with, or you go to the Vietnamese market, Chinese market.
Yeah.
They have moon cake.
Costco has them now too.
Yeah, Costco right now have it. So you can go Costco and buy some moon cake. Yeah, it's the cake round like moon. We have a what we call festival moon this month.
It's a cake.
Yeah. So it's like a little pastry.
Small cake.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a cake, right? We call moon cake, but actually
Little pastry.
yeah, sugar and all that stuff. And number 9, we offer music, right? Offer to the Buddha music. Music not singing. Music is mean like there's a feast and a gong and all the stuff we recite. That's why offer the Buddha music. And then number 10 is the easiest one. We join our palm to offer the Buddha. So whenever you see the Buddha, you put arm. So when we put arm together, when we offer, because usually this represents the lotus, right? Everybody know when we put your arm together, it seems like lotus. Right now we don't have flower, so we offer the Buddha the flower of lotus. So whenever we come together in Asian tradition, Thailand or Vietnam, we see each other, meet each other, we put the arm together. I mean, I lotus for you. Usually we don't have flower, then we give the lotus. So respect. That's right. Usually business people, they shake their hand. But in Buddhism tradition, we put a hand together to show lotus, to offer a lotus. So you can give all these 10 things. The easiest one is what? Put your hand and bow to the Buddha. That's all. So that is the 10 things that you are given during recite this sutra. But the highest given is non-giving. Right? Anybody know the highest giving of non-giving? So what is the non-giving? The non-giving is mean there's no self. That is the highest giving. If you're giving and you still attach to what you're giving, then it's not giving. So when you're giving up anything and you're not attached to your giving, then that's the highest giving. I mean giving, not one receive or one back or one something, right? So I mean giving is let it go. So this chapter talk about how the American virtue upholding this sutra. So the sutra represents the two meanings. The sutra is also this sutra, words, paper. It's also the sutra of living. This sutra you use every day, what we call living sutra, what we call awakened nature, represent this sutra. Okay. So we will start right here. Do you have any question, comment? Now you have something to offer, right? Any offer you like? Let's go ahead.
The thing to offer between the necklaces and the clothes, I missed what that one was. So it was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Number 4 is necklace. Number 5 is jewels.
Oh, number 5 is jewels.
Yeah. Number 6 is banner or canopy. Number 7 is clothes. Number 8 is food.
Then what was number 6? I'm sorry.
Banner and canopy.
Banners and canopies?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just like people use all this other stuff. Other stuff. Ornament, wooden, plant to make. Or sometimes you see a Buddha statue and build a house or build an altar or something. Respectfully. Okay. Yes?
Alright. From what my understanding of the offerings, when you say make the offering to, you're talking about offering to the dead, right? To acquire some kind of material benefit? Or are you talking about an offering to, when you say Buddha, you're talking about offering to the true nature?
Yes. Both.
Both.
Yeah. Right now we offer up there the dead Buddha, but the main thing is we offer the living Buddha. It's your true Buddha, your awakened nature. The Buddha, the dead Buddha cannot smell flower, cannot see the light, but the offer will help you to realize yourself. Just like we put the altar up there, flower. Every day there's a lesson for us in the flower. The deep meaning, land, the thing up there. So help us to realize that all those stuff. Okay, anybody else? Question, comment? Yes, go ahead.
You said the music was limited to the fish?
Yeah, face the song. Or people usually they sing.
They sang.
Yeah, sing the Buddha music, not rock and roll or what. Sing the not rap or something. Sing the Buddhist music.
So when they sang, they're like chanting.
They're chanting. Sometimes they sing. Just like we have a Buddha birthday. Some kids they sing a Buddha song. Or some people they make a sutra of a song. They sing it.
Do they have any instruments like a piano? Or anything?
Yeah, sometimes they use piano, sometimes they use guitar, or sometimes they just sing. Or you can recite often. It's like we recite the Heart Sutra.
Right, that's what I'm wondering. Do they sing just like chanting something over and over again, or do they sing like a whole song with different verses?
There's many verses. Yeah. It's like when we recite, we have to recite not just the Heart Sutra, the Lotus Sutra, the Dharma Sutra. We have a lot of sutra to recite. So sometimes you recite hours. Because live music helps us generate energy, right? Like when a lot of people go see perform music, right? Because music sometimes make them more relaxed, comfortable, peace. Anywhere they don't like music in here? Usually all the human beings, we all like music, right? 100 people is 100, there's nobody dislike music, right? So that's why music helps us to calm our minds. Like people listen to during meditation, they listen to some kind of mantra or some kind of relaxed meditation, just help their minds calm, peace. So this is the way to help you to release your stress. Just like church, right? Everybody go to church here? They do a lot of singing, right? A lot of all this stuff. Like when we have a difficult time, we listen to music, suddenly our mind is more calm, more peace. Like you have anger, feel terrible, then you listen to music. Nice music, make your mind is calm. So music is very. But imagine this having been the alpha music, the music the sounds more pretty than the living music. Okay, anybody else? Question, comment? Yes, go ahead.
So a bit of a comment and a bit of a question. So when I was a child, I would ask my mom, why at the altar do we put, flowers, fruit, and have incense? You've mentioned it times before too, and this is the first time I actually see it, mentioned specifically. Offerings of flowers and incense, and then the 10 that you mentioned there before. Are there any other? So two-part question is that pretty much how this is derived, that Buddhists or Vietnamese have offered these, flower and incense? And then the second question is, are there any other references that we offer these, flowers and incense in those 10 that you list?
Usually that's the 10 basic things you offer, or sometimes you offer more. Depending on what you got. So you don't have fresh flower, just give some fake flower. Some people in the altar they put what we call undead flower.
Yeah.
The flower never died. It's called fake flower. So this is the 10 basic you offer. Usually in every temple, every monastery, or every home they offer 10 things. Some people they don't have offer anything, just flower or water. So we got to mention water too. So water represents purity. We offer from our water.
How do you offer water?
We make small cup right here. We put inside the cover, and every week we replace the new water. Usually, I don't know. Sometimes people believe that they drink that water that cure the sickness. So usually, people who have disease, cancer, they come here and beg us to give this water to them. And then after we offer the water, we bring it out, we drink. So if you truly believe, then the cancer will cure. If you don't believe, cancer continues. So everything depends on your mind. If you truly believe, then something will happen. If you don't believe, then nothing happens. So that's why we offer the water to the Buddha. And sometimes people are sick, they offer the Buddha waters, and then 1 or 2 days they bring it down and they drink it. They recite the mantra to help them cure their sickness, cure their stuff. Okay, anything else you would like to offer? No question? Okay, we will recite the anything else. Live in me, thou innumerable, I vow to save them all. Reflection of their image, I vow to drag them all. The Dharma door is comfortable, I vow to save them all. The Buddha ways is excel, I vow to attain it. I vow to the merit of virtue of this goes everywhere, enrich everyone, so that all of us that now live in me will rise like you. Thank you. Another question. Heart Sutra yet? I'm gonna give you another month until Thanksgiving, okay?
Try not looking at the paper.
Yeah,
Today.
when you recite.
Didn't look at the paper,
That's good.
but every once in a while for that.
Yeah. So you wait, you have until Thanksgiving. And then you cannot remember until Christmas.
Good. Good. More time to practice.